Welcome to Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang, your intel on the Philippine markets and the economy. President pro tempore Ping Lacson resigns as chairman of the powerful Blue Ribbon Committee. Lacson explained that his exit comes after some of his co-senators expressed disappointment on how he handles investigations in flood control scandal. He said, quote, "It's time for me to step aside in favor of another member who think they can handle the committee better." He also said there's so much frustration in his post, it's hard for him to bear. Lacson, however, stood pat on continuing to fight corruption in public funds. He also denied new rumors of another coup to change the Senate leadership, once again saying it has nothing to do with his resignation in the committee. The reported death toll from the magnitude 6.9 earthquake in Cebu has climbed to 71, according to the NDRRMC. However, the agency noted that the count is still subject to validation. More than 500 people were injured, while over 100,000 families, or about 400,000 individuals, were affected by the earthquake. Meanwhile, PhilVoc says nearly 7,000 aftershocks have been recorded since Tuesday's quake, 29 of which were felt, some as strong as magnitude 5.1. Face-to-face classes remain suspended in Cebu City today. Public schools from daycare to high school have shifted online as city engineers complete structural safety assessments. Pope Leo XIV offers prayers for the victims of the earthquake in Cebu. In his Angelus on Sunday, the Pope expressed closeness to Filipinos as we reel from the impacts of the quake. He said he is praying for the severely affected families of the disaster, encouraging them to remain united and supportive in their trust in God. Cebu Archbishop Alberto Uy said that the Pope has first extended his sympathies to the victims on October 2 through a message from the Apostolic Nuncio to the Philippines. Pope Leo, also known as Robert Prevost, has visited Cebu at least 5 times when he was the Superior General of the Agustinians.
Primo la mia vicinanza al caro popolo filippino e in particolare prego per coloro che sono più duramente provati dalle conseguenze del terremoto.
Meanwhile, no casualties have been reported so far due to Tropical Cyclone Paulo. Over 313,000 people, however, were affected across 5 regions. More than 8,000 individuals were displaced. Paulo entered PAR on October 1st as a tropical depression east of Catanduanes. It quickly intensified into a typhoon, making landfall over Isabela before crossing across northern Luzon. Alagang Kapatid Foundation Inc. or ACFI, the corporate social responsibility arm of TV5 Network in the Philippines, is simultaneously conducting relief work for Cebu earthquake victims and those left in the trail of destructions by Typhoon Paulo. With us now for more is Menchi Silvestre, Executive Director of ACFI. Magandang umaga, Menchi. Welcome to the program.
Magandang umaga, Cathy. Good morning to all your televiewers and of course your followers.
So, kamusta na ang relief work sa Northern Cebu? Because as I understand, you've already been doing relief work in Northern Luzon.
Cathy, I have to admit our team currently in Masbate will be crossing to Bogo, Cebu sometime today. So ngayon pa lamang araw na ito, maaring magsimula ang ating operations in Northern Cebu. But again, we assure you we will be covering all the possible municipalities and cities in the neighboring towns of Bogo. We will not just concentrate in Bogo at napakarami pang ibang mga communities surrounding Bogo City that are affected. And yes, Correct, Kathy. We have also been operating in northern Luzon because of the super typhoons that happened right before Opong. Nandyan ang Nando, ang Mirasol, and it made landfall almost 6 times. Opong halimbawa made landfall ng 6 na beses sa iba't ibang bahagi ng Pilipinas at sinisikap natin pa rin na marating ito. Kathy, we have stepped up our operations, nagdagdag tayo ng teams so that we can simultaneously serve different regions or different provinces all at the same time para hindi ito maghihintay naman ng ating mga kababayan, Kathy.
Yeah, tell us about the challenge, no? The fresh challenge that we face. Sunod-sunod ang mga sakuna, whether it be a typhoon or an earthquake. And papaano ba tayo humihingi ng tulong sa iba? We can't go it alone. This is also becoming more frequent and so impossible to take care of two things at the same time and in different places in the country.
Kathy, ang isang maipagmamalaki ng Alagang Kapatid Foundation is because we have the backing of the MVP foundations as well. So pagka ang ating mga kapatid sa ibang mga kumpanya at ibang mga foundations ay nagsisilbi na sa isang lugar, we do not duplicate it anymore. If I may mention, PLDT Smart Foundation, Metro Pacific Investments Foundation, Juan Meralco Foundation, Maynila, Makati Medical Center Foundation, lahat ito tumutulong sa atin din, Cathy. Even the business centers of the different companies are also working, Cathy. Hindi lamang naman po ang Alagang Kapatid. And that makes it sustainable for us. But again, that is really a challenge, Cathy, lalo na pag walang pahinga yung dating ng mga kalamidad, gaya na naman itong nangyayari ito. Although we were kind of pre-warned, Cathy, di ba sinabi sa atin na talagang La Nina na tayo up to December. So again, we try not to spread ourselves thinly hanggat sa kinakayanan, hindi pwede ring ubos-ubos ang biyaya, kung kaya we try to allocate the goods that we have, and we're very grateful. Other foundations like Metrobank Foundation, ASA Philippines have really given very generous donations, including the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Again, Cathy, we keep on flashing also our bank accounts, our Maya QR code, para patuloy lamang din even the private donors keep coming, Cathy.
Sa mga gustong mag-contribute at mag-donate, ano ang kanilang maaasahan? Ano pa ang planong gamitin itong mga additional funds na papasok? Saan siya gagamitin? Ito ba'y para sa Northern Luzon o sa Northern Cebu?
Cathy, I just have to get my listahan na. So again, Aurora Province, Isabela and Cagayan Province in the north, kailangan pa nating iserve ito. Ang Abra, gayon din, ang Oriental Mindoro, kung saan naglandfall din ang Bagyong Opong, ang Romblon, dito rin po ay naglandfall ang Bagyong Opong. And again, sabi ko nga, we will try our very best to have 3 teams simultaneously working in Northern Luzon, Southern Tagalog, and again in Northern Cebu para itong inyong tulong na inyong ipinagkakatiwala naman po sa Alagang Kapatid Foundation ay kagyat or immediately ay maipadala namin dito. And again, hopefully with enough resources, Cathy, up to yung kanilang pagbangon, yung recovery phase nitong mga lalawigan na ito ay maging bahagi pa rin tayo, Cathy. So again, we flashed our bank accounts. Andyan po yung mas madali. Just scan our QR code if your banks are PH enabled, QRPH enabled. So please scan our QR code. Any bank, any amount, we welcome that. And of course, we have our Banco de Oro, Metro Bank, and BPI accounts. We also have our Cebuana, Luwilier account. So mga kapatid, sundan lang din po ninyo our Facebook page, Alagang Kapatid Foundation Incorporated. Makikita po ninyo doon kung saan natin dinadala ang inyong tulong. We're very transparent as immediately as possible para agad-agad nababalitaan ninyo kung saang mga lugar na ang narating namin. In Masbate alone, we were able to serve 6 municipalities, not just Masbate City. Talagang ginalugad natin, Cathy, yung mga isolated and least served na mga municipalities, and that's what we're going to do in the next couple of days, the next couple of weeks.
Okay, looking forward to those updates, Menchie. And ingat kayo, saan kayo mapadpad at para tumulong. Salamat na marami, Menchie Silvestre of ACFI. And you're watching Money Talks. Relief efforts continue following the magnitude 6.9 quake in Cebu. Gwendolyn Pang, the Secretary General of the Philippine Red Cross, will give us updates. We'll be back after this short break. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back to Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang. The International Federation of Red Cross and the Red Crescent Societies, or IFRC, has launched an emergency appeal to support relief operations in quake-hit areas. The IFRC aims to collect 8 million Swiss francs, or over 580 million pesos, which will be handed over to the Philippine Red Cross. The money will enable the PRC to sustain post-disaster operations, including providing first aid, clean water, food, and psychosocial support, as well as the deployment of rescue vehicles, generator, and blood units. The IFRC and PRC have rolled out a 2-year long-term recovery plan to help Cebu quake victims rebuild their homes and livelihoods. With us now for more is Gwendolyn Pang, Secretary General of the Philippine Red Cross. Good to have you with us, Dr. Pang. Welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning, Cathy, and good morning to all the to all your followers.
So, what's the latest in the $10 million appeal by the IFRC and the Red Crescent Societies?
We have just launched it last Friday. So far, we have received already commitments from different partners, from various partners. So we have Singapore Red Cross who have already sent their contribution to us. We have, which is supported by the Singapore government. And then for the Spanish Red Cross, they have also conveyed their support and interest to fund the emergency appeal. Also, the Spanish agency, aid agency. And then we also have received confirmation from the American Red Cross, Finnish Red Cross, German Red Cross, Netherlands Red Cross. So far, we are very positive that we will be able to get some support from the appeal. From the 8 million appeal, 5 million will come from the multilateral support through the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies. And then about 1.5 will come from domestic support, from the domestic appeal from partners who are here in the country. Another 1.5 million Swiss francs will come from other partners who are in bilateral agreement with the Philippine Red Cross. So
there's a lot of help indeed that's coming through, and a lot of those concerned. Talk to us about the pictures we're seeing now of the medical tents of Chair Dick Gordon there with DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon inside those medical tents. I believe that they have been in operation since this weekend.
Yes. So we receive a call from our president, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., requesting support. Requesting us to cooperate or partner with the government. So they called our Chairman Richard Gordon, to set up a tent city. That was also through the intervention of DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon. So there's a need actually to set up tent cities because we have seen people staying on the side of the roads, which actually make them vulnerable to different elements, say possible accidents, or maybe they can they can get sick easily because they're under, they can be exposed to heavy rains and or also extreme heat, not good for children and elderly and pregnant women. So the order of the president, President Marcos, is actually to set up tent cities, which the Red Cross has extensive
The
experience
tents
in.
that we're seeing now in the pictures, are those the medical tents or are those for the temporary shelters that have been set up for the people displaced?
These are tent cities. So these are family tents. So we will set up 3 for now and possible 4. The one
We're
that
seeing
you're
the
seeing
medical tents right
is in
now as you're
Bogo.
seeing some
So
pictures there come through for the
yeah,
first time.
this one is the medical tent that we place in the hospital, in the Bogo District Hospital. However, we also have a medical tent that will be in the tent city. It will not just be family tents, it will have a complete facilities for the to support the families that will be transferred to the tent cities, such as medical tents. We have child-friendly spaces. We have alternative learning that will be supported by DepEd. We will have also food and water station that will be jointly done between the Philippine Red Cross and the SWD. We will also have toilet, shower, kitchen, and water station facilities. So it will be a complete facility that that people there who will be staying there will be able to use. No, in the meantime, while they're in the tent cities.
How is capacity looking though, Doc Gwen, given that there could be more of the displaced needing some shelter and also help for the injured?
So our chairman has committed to support about 2,500 families. The challenge is actually to secure land. Although we have already identified locations or sites for the 10 cities. With the help of DPWH, they are developing, no, or improving the land at the moment so that we can actually use them as 10 cities. One in Bogo, we have in San Remigio, and also one in Medellin. Possible also to follow the Anbantayan.
And how fast are you going to roll out these medical and shelters?
We have already erected 60 in Bogo. We have 15 portalets and also 15 shower facilities. No, that is all undergoing construction. So we are in coordination with the city mayor and vice mayor of Bogo to already bring the families to the tent city. Yesterday, we already have 18 families residing there. So we're expecting more to be transferred there today. It will also have an ambulance standby. So it will be a facility where people can live comfortably.
And it's not only food and shelter, but also psychosocial help. So how is your
Yes.
staffing looking? Because you're going to be rolling out more tents and medical tents for that matter.
So we have a pool of volunteers that are trained on different sectors. Health, we have psychosocial support, we have first aid, we have water and sanitation, hygiene. We also have what's this aside from medical team, We do have people who are trained, in taking care of children, in giving activities for children, child-friendly spaces. So we have trained volunteers. We will continue. We will continue to recruit and train more so that we will have a full rotation, of volunteers and be able to sustain them. But as of now, we're good.
And how's the coordination coming along with the local government units? You cited different parts of northern Cebu there, as well as the humanitarian agencies here and overseas.
So last Saturday, we had an interagency meeting chaired by Secretary Vince Dizon, which we attended, and together with all other government agencies. And daily, we have interagency meeting also locally on the ground for city of Bogo, for San Remigio, and Medellin. So it's going well, although there are a lot of challenges such as weather issue. For instance, if rain is heavy, then we have to stop the land development for a while, and then we continue when the rain will stop. So there are actually a lot of challenges as well, but we're doing all our best and working closely with all the government agencies to be able to provide the much needed support for the people affected by this earthquake with
Given
food and other needs.
Yeah, the challenges that you face, how does the magnitude of what you're seeing compare with the work that Red Cross had done in Bohol, for instance, when the quake struck there in 2013, or maybe even compare that to Super Typhoon Haiyan?
Well, the disaster brought about by typhoons are actually very different from earthquake. With typhoon, landslide, people will actually stay in evacuation center because there's no aftershock and there's actually no trauma about falling objects yeah. So now with or structures that are that can possibly hit them. So now with the earthquake, that's the problem. I mean, you cannot really see people in the evacuation center. There's no evacuation center actually. There are open spaces where people actually would stay under tarpaulins or plastic sheetings or tents. So it's very different. I mean, it's just, people are scattered, so making coordination a bit difficult. However, in evacuation centers, where evacuation centers are present, it is easier because the families are there already. You can easily talk to them, coordinate with them, give announcement, and give the services required. But here, you have to go around and look for them. And bring them to safer ground. So that is the one of the main challenges, and disruption of services. Sometimes, actually, it depends on the situation. But this one is since the earthquake is very strong, so disruption of services is actually more severe than compared to other typhoons.
Right.
But of
No
course,
doubt.
that is
Yeah.
super big. It's phenomenal. It's
Dr.
different.
Pang, there's clearly an increase in both the frequency, the intensity of the climate-related disasters, including more storms and floods and heat waves. In fact, from your perspective, how do you think this is reshaping the disaster preparedness and maybe even policy priorities, especially in countries like ours?
So we have to make the people part of the solution. We cannot just continue solving the problem for the communities. We have to actually engage the people and get them to be part of the preparedness, because we cannot be there first for them. They have to be first for themselves on the ground at the height of an emergency, like what to do in case of earthquake. They have to do that duck cover and hold so they can actually prevent, being hit by falling objects, and then where to go, what to do, because initially, they are the ones who should help themselves first. And to do that is to make them part of the preparedness, to really educate them, get them involved in the process. And then in terms of the government organizations such as the Red Cross, other civil societies who are actually working on disaster preparedness and response, we have to actually work together. We have to coordinate better, because this is a win-win for everybody if we work together. If we will not work together, it's a win-lose situation or disposition. So
And it all
this
starts
is
with,
very
Yeah,
Yeah.
awareness and just getting everybody to believe that they can save a life and even their own with all the measures taken. Dr. Gwen, thank you so much. And I
Thank
do
you so
appreciate
much,
the
Kat.
updates. Keep us up to speed with Red Cross's efforts there. Dr. Gwen Pang of the Philippine Red Cross. Well, on to the markets now. Let's get a check on the Philippine market, see how it's doing at the start of this very pivotal week when we have the inflation data out as well as the Bangko Central's decision down the line. PSEI opens this week slightly higher, 6,111. The local bourse closed Friday higher by over 1%, marking its third consecutive session of gains by ending just above 6,100. The broader all-shares index likewise advanced, with most sectoral counters finishing in positive territory. As for the Philippine peso, let's take a look at how that opened. It's slightly weaker at 58.05 to the dollar. Local currency closed Friday a tad stronger at 57.88 against the greenback. The 10-year government bond yields have inched up at 6.022%. And U.S. markets have wrapped the week on a mixed note, with interest rate cut expectations still in play, and as the U.S. government shutdown stretched into its third consecutive day. The Dow and the S&P both notched fresh record closes, up by 0.5% and 0.1% respectively. This marks the S&P's 31st record high this year. As for the Nasdaq, it slid by over 0.25%. The benchmark 10-year Treasury yields edged higher to 4.118%. Gold prices have climbed to a new record, hitting $3,880 per troy ounce. U.S. futures point to slight gains when the markets open later tonight Manila time. Look at those green arrows there, up about 1% for the Dow, S&P 500 up by 0.2, and the Nasdaq is gaining by about 0.25%. As for the Asian markets, are all pointing up this Monday. All green arrows as well, with the Australian ASX rising by about 0.1%. Now it's down about 0.1%, as I can see there, with the Kospi Index up 2.7% and the Nikkei 225 advancing by over 4%. And the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas will likely keep interest rates on hold as this inflation risks linger, according to most analysts polled by Business World. The poll conducted last week showed 10 of the 16 analysts expect the Monetary Board to pause monetary easing in its October 9 meeting, keeping the benchmark rate at 5%. 6 analysts, on the other hand, anticipate a 25 basis point rate cut, citing the BSP's 2 to 4% target inflation and the need to support economic growth. If realized, this would bring the benchmark rate to 4.75%. Earlier, the BSP Governor, Eli Remolona, said they are open to delivering a cut this month if the country's economic output further weakens. The central bank has so far lowered borrowing costs by a total of 150 basis points since the start of its easing cycle in August of last year. The UK takes part in Maynilad's stock market debut in November, according to its preliminary prospectus dated October 3. UK's Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office is one of the 6 international cornerstone investors named in Maynilad's latest regulatory filing. The UK agency joined via its mobilizing capital through listed products or Mobilist program. Maynilad clarified that Mobilist will join only as an investor if the IPO price does not exceed 15 pesos per share. On the domestic front, trust units of BDO, BPI, Metro Bank and Security Bank have already signed on. The International Finance Corp and the Asian Development Bank will serve as lead cornerstone investors, with the former committing $100 million, while the latter seeking approval to invest $145 million at 15 pesos per share. Maynilad will sell over 1.6 billion common shares, with the offer period running from October 23 to 29. The West Zone Water Concessionaire will debut at the PSEI on November 7 under the ticker MYNLD. Maynilad President and CEO Ramoncito Fernandez on Sunday said, quote, "We are proud to reach this point in Maynilad's story. Maynilad and Signal, the owner of this channel, are both part of the MVP Group." Meanwhile, the banking industry mourns the passing of veteran banker and pioneer Xavier XP Loinas. He was 82. XP was the former president and CEO of Bank of Philippine Islands. During his watch, BPI became the first Philippine bank to introduce ATMs in the early 1980s and later launched internet banking in 1999. BPI President and CEO TG Limcaoco said XP's leadership defined an era of resilience and innovation for the bank. BPI said they joined the Loynaz family in grief and remembrance, honoring his remarkable life and the countless ways he helped shape the Philippine banking industry. And before we go, congratulations again for this program as it earns yet another international nod. Money Talks has been nominated for Best News Program at the 2025 Asian Television Awards happening on November 14 in Jakarta, Indonesia. The program stands alongside news shows from Taiwan, China, Indonesia, and another entry from the Philippines. Now, this nomination comes just days after Money Talks was named 2025 national winner for the same category at the Asian Academy Creative Awards, which will be held on December 4 in Singapore. Represent Philippines, we shall. And that is it for Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang. Catch us again tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. here on One News. We're also streamed live on YouTube and on our Facebook channels. Have a great day ahead.